everyone, I am Vibha Chauhan and welcome to Chauhan Classes Funda Clear. So today I will explain class 8 Civics chapter 9 and the chapter is Public Facilities. Public facilities. So in this chapter we will discuss about public facilities, mainly about water. We will discuss because it's also public facilities. So in this chapter we will discuss about mainly about water, and we will discuss does everyone have access to it. We will discuss problems related to the common people in India, and we will discuss the role of government in public facilities. We will discuss why is it the government, only the government which takes the responsibility of public facilities, and we will discuss about the budget of the government. What is budget in this chapter? So our first topic is water and the people of Chennai. Water and the people of Chennai. So you know that in a city you know that there is a demarcated area that is for, you can say, the rich people. We are mainly discussing on Chennai. So there it is a demarcated area that is where wealthy people live, and in that area water is, you can say that, is upper the level of essential water. You can say that importance of water, you can say that there is so much water. There are, you can say that, springs of water, you can say that fountains of water, and whenever there is not a supply of water, then they get to know to the, you can say that, senior officials of government for water supply. And whereas in that same city there is some area where water supplies is only once in 2 days, and that water is also not for safe drinking, you can say that. So people have to buy, you can say that, market water bottle, sealed water, you can say that. And near that area there is area where water supply is only once in 4 days, you can say that, and people have to buy, you can say that, bore well, and people have to, you can say that, reserve the water, you can say that, save the water. They have to harvest the water by, there are many ways, you can say that, groundwater harvesting, you can say that. And there is some area that is slum area in that same city, slum area, where you can say that for 30 hertz there is only one tap at the corner, and in that tap you can say that only for 20 minutes water is supplied, and you can say that per person the water is, per family, you can say that the water is only 3 buckets. So you can say that in the same area there is, you can say that, there is lots of supplies of water and less of supplies of water. So our next topic is water as part of the fundamental right to life. Water as part for fundamental right to life. So you know that water is very essential for every human being, you can say that, for every citizen of India. It is, you can say that, because of water we are also prevented from the water related disease. You know that every day in India over 1,600 people die because of water related disease, and in those people most, you can say the most are the children under the age of 5. In India there are many cases of water related disease like dysentery, cholera, diarrhea, etc. There are many diseases, and we can prevent, you can say that, people from those water related disease by water, by safe drinking water. So know that in constitution, in our Indian constitution, under article 21 it is right to life, and water, right to water is an essential part, is come under the right to life of our fundamental rights, you can say that. And this provision has been, you can say that, declared by Supreme Court and as well as the High Court, you can say that. And for instance, you can say that in 2007, in recent 2007, there was case in which there was that there were complaints from, you can say that, the villages of Andhra Pradesh that the industries in those villages were poisoning the water, and the High Court of that state, High Court of Andhra Pradesh, you can say that, commanded, ordered district minister of that states, of those villages, to give 25 liters of water to per person, because the water was poisoned by those industries. So you can say that right to water, right to safe drinking water, is a part of right to life, which comes under Article 21 and is a fundamental right of every citizen. So in India, every citizen must have access to the, you can say that, water, to safe drinking water. So our next topic is public facilities. Public facilities. So what are public facilities? Public facilities, you can say that public facilities are, you can say, like electricity, dams, water, you can say that roads. These are all public facilities. And public facilities, you can say that, are not for one person, they are for public, they are for all persons. They can be enjoyed by many persons. For instance, you can take example of schools. If a school is, you can say that, open in an area, that it is not that it is for one person, there are many persons, you can say that, who study in those schools, there are many children who study in those schools. So you can say that public facilities are provided for all, you can say, for public. It can be enjoyed by many persons, you can say that. So our next topic is the government's role. The government's role. So you know that in India there are many public facilities, and there is someone who must take the responsibilities of those public facilities, and that someone is government. You can say that government is one, you can say that takes responsibilities of public facilities. It is the government who has to take care of all public facilities in our country. You can say that in India. And why is it only the government? Why not private companies? You can say that private companies, because you know that private companies do the marketing and do the business for their own profit, for their benefit, as you have already read, as you have already studied in the last class, that is, you have already studied in civics, that publicly, you can say, private companies do business for their own profit benefits. And what benefit can they get from public facilities? For example, if they start anti-malaria campaign, you can say that, and you can say that drainage system, then what profit they can get? There is no profit. And in some public facilities there are some profits, you can say that, for private companies. For example, you can say the example of water, you can take it. Water, if there is less water, there is no access to water, then private companies can make water business, you can say that. They can provide water, but at a very high price, you can say that. There are very less people who can afford it, you can say that. So you can say that private companies do business. This is not a desirable option for a common person in India, or you can say for a poor person in India, because private companies do the business at a very high price, provide public facilities at a very high price, you can say that, at a very high, that is not affordable by a common person in India. So that's why it is the government who takes the responsibilities of public facilities, because it has to provide. In our Indian Constitution, it is also written as the right to life, in which there is education, water and other facilities. So you can say that government has to take the responsibilities. So now question is that, from where does the government get money for those public facilities? So government gets money from taxes that is collected from the citizens of India. You know that we have to pay taxes, and from those taxes government do the public facilities that are essential for our citizens of India. And you know that the budget system, the budget that is provided, that is introduced by the government, and you can say that budget is an account on which all expenses of the government is written of the past year and the upcoming year, you can say that. And a data is given in our book, that is central government expenses. So here it is given that 24% is expended, you can say, spended on state share of taxes and duties. 18% you can say that is spent on interest payments, 10% is spent on central sector scheme, 9% centrally sponsored scheme, 9% you can say that again 9% defense you can say that, and again 9% is spent on subsidies, 8% is spent on finance commission and other transfers, 8% other expenditure, and 5% that is pensions in India that are given to our citizens of India. So you can say that it is the data given of 2018 to 2019. So we have seen a data that was given in the book about central government expenses. Now second data is given, that is from where does this central government get money from. So non-debt capital received 3%, it gets from non-debt capital received from 3%, and 23% it gets from GST and other taxes. It gets 19% from borrowings and other liabilities. 19% it gets from corporation tax, 16% from income tax, 8% from non-tax revenue, 8% again from union excise duties, and 4% from customs. So you can say that these are revenues from where does the government gets taxes, you can say that. So you can say that the government's role for public facilities includes taxes from which it gets money from, and after that it makes a budget on which it is written, you can say that it is an account from which government decide from how much it should spend on expenses, you can say that. So our next topic is water supply to Chennai, is it available for all? Water supply to Chennai. So if we talk about Chennai, that is city, you can say that is an Indian city. So if we talk about Chennai, what about its water supply? So you have to remember that you can say that in Chennai the water supply, you can say that is very poor. You can say that from half of the city you can say that it is not benefited for the water, and even if they get water, problem is safe drinking water, because many of the people of Chennai can't get safe drinking water that is very essential, you can say that under the right to life, but people have to buy from markets and have to spend so much money, and in this you have to say that you can say that only wealthier people can get money, you can say can get water from markets, because poorer people that are in poverty, how can they buy, how can they afford those, you can say that water. And in Chennai there are various ways by which waters are conserved, you can say waters are saved, that are rainwater harvesting, you can say that is one of the most effective way, rainwater harvesting, by which people collect the rainwater by harvesting it, you can say that. So you can say that in Chennai the situation of poorer people that are very poor is very worse, you can say that, because the water supply is not to them, you can say that they live in slum, and we have already seen in the first topic that the people who live in slum get very less water than those of, you can say that in very big areas, that those wealthy people, you can say that. And most, you can say that worst thing is that many water contractors take water from nearby areas, nearby towns of the Chennai, you can say that, and they take water from farmers, and that worsen the condition of those towns as well. You can say that if there is city and surrounding the cities there are towns, and water contractors are taking water from those, you can say that towns, and because of it they are giving to advance payments to those farmers, and because of it the situations of those village, you can say that as well gets worsened, you can say that. So water supply, it is not available to all, you can say that. So our next topic is in search of alternatives. So you can say that government's role is to provide public facilities to all citizens of India. It doesn't matter whether he is rich or poor, it doesn't matter to it. So you can say that government has to provide, but you see that in various, you can say various parts of India, there are very less. People are not benefited. People are, you can say that people are deprived of public facilities, you can say that. But there is some, you can say there are some achievements that are in Mumbai, in Hyderabad, there are some steps being taken, and in Chennai as well. As I've already said that there is scheme of rainwater harvesting to conserve the water, you can say that, to save the water, you can say that. And groundwater, you can say that groundwater is also essential, you can say that is also important in conserving the water. But some people argue that the government is not, you can say that, taking its responsibility, that is fulfilling its responsibility, that is of public facilities. So some people argue that the responsibility of public facilities should be given to the private companies, but there are some facts to be considered as well, that are in various, you can say that in various parts of the world, in various countries, there are very less instances, there are very less countries which have private companies to do the public facilities. And second is that you have to take that there are many examples of governments which have, you can say that, which have achieved so much, you can say that, in water supplies, in public facilities. And third is that you have to consider that most of the countries which have given to the private companies of the responsibility of public facilities, they have to take back. They have to take back because the riots were burning, you can say that riots were broken in those countries. For example, if you take example of Bolivia, their public facility was given to the private companies, but that did not satisfy the people of that country, citizens of that country, because the prices were very high. So because of it, the government had to, you can say that, take back that responsibility from private companies. And you have to see that these facts says that government, the responsibility of public facilities should be given to the government, not to the private companies, because government, you can say that, is taking step. It can achieve not in one, you can say that, and in search of alternatives. If you talk about that in urban area, the water supply for per person, you can say that water consumption for per person per day is about, you can say that, 35 liters, and whereas in poor cities, you can say that to the poor person it is only about, you can say that, 7 liters, and those who live in, you can say that, in very high hotels, you can say that in 5-star hotel, you can say luxurious hotel, they consume 1600 liters per day, you can say that. So you can say that there is inequalities in consumption of water as well, you can say that. So you can say that there is inequalities in consumption, and the responsibility should be given to the government, not to the private companies, you can take. And there are many examples by which it shows that the responsibility should be given to the government. So our next and last topic of this chapter is conclusion. Conclusion. What do we get? Conclusion of this chapter. As the conclusion of this chapter, so you can say that conclusion of this chapter is that public facilities are very essential for every citizen of India, and the Constitution says right to water as a part of right to life under Article 1, Article 21. That is a fundamental right of citizens, of us, you can say that. And you can say that governments has been taking steps, but that is not satisfactory. You can say that is far, you can say that is far below from the satisfactory, you can say that. And you know that there should be universal access to water, that is water should be given to all persons in India. But you can see that we have taken the case study of Chennai, we can say that there is very less situation of, we can say that, universal access to water. So the conclusion of this chapter can be that public facilities are not available to, you can say that, all citizens of India, but it should be given to all citizens. So this is all about the chapter. We have discussed about public facilities, mainly about water. So this is all about the chapter. I have discussed all topics and subtopics, and I'll be covering next chapters in further videos. So thank you very much.